There's 3 phases to arc flash analysis. Data collection, that's boots on the ground in your plant. If someone has not broke a sweat in your building, your study's not right. If someone has not shown up and spent time in your building and worked their butt off, your study is incorrect. And I can prove it. Okay? Someone has to be there. Engineering, that's the phase where the computer models are created. Then the delivery, that's where your deliverables happen. And your biggest deliverable has nothing to do with labels. It's not the book. It's the mitigation recommendations that these guys write. That's the deliverable you're buying from us. Make sure you get that from everybody. Okay? All the other stuff is cool, but you want the mitigation recommendations. Now, in data collection, we're going to collect transformer data. We're going to write down KVA and impedances, all kinds of stuff that only engineers could care about. We're going to write down conductor sizes coming out of that transformer going to your switchgear. We're going to open that switchgear. We're going to write down everything inside. Every wire size, everything is connected to everything else, every part number, every accessory, every trip unit, every setting, hundreds of things in switchgear to write down. We'll write down all of it. Fuse and circuit breaker data, we'll get the electrical utility information. We'll develop accurate one-line drawings for you. Okay? So someone's got to be there breaking a sweat in your facility. Don't go for this. Some people say, oh yeah, we can do your arc flash analysis. Just send us your drawings and we'll send you some labels. Run. Hide. That is not an arc flash analysis. I don't know what that is, but it's not an arc flash analysis. I don't care how good your drawings are, they're not good enough. Besides, electrical one-line drawings don't have all the information we need. They might have what fuse is supposed to be in that box, but it doesn't mean what fuse is actually in that box today. It might have what your breakers are supposed to be set at, but it doesn't have what the breakers are actually set at. Someone's got to look and see. Okay? We might need your help during this phase, during data collection. We don't need you to open panels. We don't need you to do all the work. We need local information. Here's what happens sometimes. We're in a panel and there's a circuit breakers. We're writing them all down. And this one says air compressor 6. So our data collector will say, hey, where's air compressor 6? And you say, we ain't got one. We sold that 2 years ago for scrap. Well, where's this breaker go? Because it's turned on and it's got wires. There's no way that we would know that 2 years ago you sold air compressor 6 and that this label's wrong. So we need help. We need just some local help from experienced folks in the area. So we'll do all the work. We just need you to talk to us some. The more accurate that field work is, the better the safety is that we can provide. Okay? So we want it accurate. Our engineers are going to do short circuit analysis. That's where they calculate what's the maximum amount of current might flow through this area of the plant. If I put a big pipe wrench in there and short it all out. If you got a big amperage pipe wrench, you know, you throw it in there. They're also going to do protected device coordination analysis. You ever stick a fork in a toaster? Don't ever do that. If you ever did that and you noticed all the lights in the house go off, it trips off the entire house, not just the breaker feeding the toaster. That's not coordinated properly. A fork in a toaster is supposed to trip that 20 amp breaker, not the 200 amp breaker feeding your house. And if it blows up the transformer on the pole, that's a bigger problem. So the same thing can happen in a factory. You ever see where this little tiny motor over here burned up but the whole building got shut down? That's a miscoordinated plant. So we got to make sure you don't have those problems. They're going to do an interrupt rating analysis. That's where we determine that your breakers will actually do what they say they will do. A 20 amp breaker or a 200 amp breaker also has a ceiling. It has a top level. Maybe it's 10,000, which is what your home is. Maybe it's 100,000. What those mean is that if let's say it's 20,000, but we calculate you have 30,000 amps of current. That breaker may not trip. It might weld together. It might blow up. So it'd be important to know that. So we give you those recommendations too. Then we do the arc flash hazard analysis, where we find the hazards. And then this right here, mitigation recommendations, is where our engineers really get to be engineers, because they got to solve a problem. And that's what I always think engineers are doing. You know, they're looking for solutions to problems. So we find the hazards, then the engineers get to really be engineers, and they have to figure out how to make this Cat 4 panel a Cat 1. And that's what they do. And they write the mitigation recommendations. Okay? Very important. That's the main deliverable, is that. And most people don't even get that. There's a lot of companies not even doing that. So make sure you don't fall for that. Make sure you get mitigation recommendations. And if someone tells you, oh, you don't have to do that, call me. Because they're wrong. They're wrong. This is the part of the job hazard analysis that says, when we find the hazard, then we will reduce it or eliminate it. That's that part. It's not in the engineering docs. It's not in 70E. It's not in IEEE 1584. It's somewhere more important. It's in good practice, good safety practices. OSHA recommends this. You have to do the mitigation recommendations. Okay? This is what your report might look like. It's a 3-ring binder. Might be an inch thick. It might be 10 of them 3 inches thick. Just depends how big your facility is. The report is explained during the delivery, because the field technician will come back. Labels are affixed. Mitigation recommendations categorized. What that means is, find all your mitigation recommendations and highlight the easy ones. And you'll know what those are. You're also going to have some hard ones. You'll have mitigation recommendations that are expensive. You'll have mitigation recommendations that are, take a lot of downtime, that you're going to have to beg for. You work in production, you'll have to beg for this. So you have to highlight the easy ones. That's what Simmons Bedding did. They highlighted those easy ones and they did them really quick. How long does it take to adjust a circuit breaker? Not very long. So highlight all of those. Highlight the fuses that need change that are easy, and do those really fast. Then the ones that are hard, put them on the schedule and get them done when you can. But don't wait for the hard ones to do the easy ones. Do the easy ones right away. Okay? And make your plans to mitigate those hazards. We also offer floor plans. If you're doing an arc flash analysis, it'd be handy if you knew where that panel was. So we can do a floor plan to show you where this panel is, actually on a map of your building, that shows a digital map of where all the panels are. It helps you find these things. We also offer thermography. Who all here has their own IR camera? You might want to follow us around. If we're opening all your panels, and we're going to open every one of them, you might as well shoot a picture while we got it open. Okay? And if you don't have a camera, we can do it for you. In closing, everyone needs to implement 70E. Everybody. Don't do it for compliance. Do it to prevent injuries. On our website, you'll find videos. If you get missing my pretty face, you'll see me in action, Klein Tools and other places. We do a podcast, video podcast, about once a month. You can see me. And on our site, you'll see the in the news. Also, course outlines of all of our training. We do lots of training, most of it safety. We have online quote forms. Don't anyone worry about what your project's going to cost. Call us. We'll figure it out for you. We can quickly give you a price. And if you got a big place, we're going to want to come see it. We can do walkthroughs. And we'll actually come and look at it. I write articles that get published in national safety magazines. Is that amazing? They don't know I'm from, Duggar, Indiana, and ain't got no good grammar. But I write these things, and they hit it with a grammar hammer, and they come out making me look pretty smart. So it's really neat. And so I've got a lot of articles published, and I wrote a letter to the CEO. If your CEO says we're not doing this because we don't have to, I wrote that guy a letter, or that girl. So you can slide that under his door one day when he's not looking, anonymously, But it's an open letter to the CEO. Any questions about anything I talked about today? Anything? I made a lot of that up. So your job will be to figure out what was I made up. Well, that's my time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.